John from Optics, and I want to show you how to use ROD, maybe to find a race that tomorrow potentially could have a lot of pace and maybe melts down. Um, the information's all there to do this. So first, I want to look at contention, and you can see Snowflake again. If you use our product, you know Snowflake is a light contention. The sun is kind of a normal one, and then when you see the flame, somewhere here, yep, you see the flame. It's on fire. And you can see little numbers next to it. This one's a 5, the 4 in the sun, 3. So anything that's greater than or equal to 5 is a flame. And you'll see I get all the flames now, right? So there you go. There's the flames. So I want to look at contentious paces with speed ratings. Like, I'll go 45, pull in 1 or 2 races, but anything greater than 45, 50, or around that range, you kind of get a feel for it, see what works for you. So what this does is it gives me the races and the horses in those races who are going to be part of what looks like to be a very contentious race. Now you got to remember, look after the scratches and see how this thing changes. But once I have this, I have this list. It looks like Fairgrounds race 1, Laurel races 2 and 8, Tampa 2 and 3. One thing I could do is just kind of go into the plot and let's take a look at it. So I'm going to look at first race at Fairgrounds. And, okay, I mean, it looks like the speed rating's high. There is some contention. I'm not crazy about this one just because of the spacing. You see the spacing between the horses to the far left versus in the middle. So, what I like to see is a lot more bulking or bunching in quadrant 1 where I'm looking for the race to melt down. But again, in a race like this, again, you want to kind of look at horses. You don't want to look at big squares. So, I mean, just looking at this here, the 1, who looks like one of the morning line favorites, could be a little bit vulnerable, but it's not something I would, think it's going to completely melt down just by kind of the visual eye test of this. And it's important. Again, there's no exact science. You're handicapping using these products as tools, and you're not trying to group everything into fixed kinds of things because you'll get yourself in trouble. It just doesn't work. So let me go back to the tab with the rod, and let's go to the next race. That's all you do. You kind of move on, and let's look at Laurel race 2. See if there's anything different there. There's bunching, right? You can see the 5, 6, 1. They kind of occupy similar space. And the kind of the 4 looks good from off the pace in a scenario like this, right? It kind of looks like the best of the closers. You get the high contention speed rating. The only concern here is obviously you see in green the price, and it's the morning line favorite, so no bargain there. So let's go back to our rod, and you can see, this is kind of just trial and error, and this is how you kind of work things. Let's go to the 8th race. That's the next one on our list. I probably just could have stayed there. So this one looks like it's got bulking again. It looks like some of the horses that may be closing late in big squares are the 1, 7, and 3. See where the 1's kind of positioned? That's kind of good because I would be more concerned if this 1 was a early press type. I wouldn't like him in a situation like this because he's below other early press types. But you can see his run style is very versatile. He wins mostly pressing and can close. And you can see you see those numbers there. It says E1, P3, C2, 94, 6.5. That last number of 6.5 is he could be as far back as 6.5 lengths and run a good race. So he would be viable. The 7 looks very deep, but he's an obvious contender, and so is the 3. Just looking based on the plot, the 7 is the actually morning line favorite. So I think the 1 and the 3 look a little interesting. Now, unfortunately, the 1's part of an entry, and probably that'll take money just because of that. But this is an interesting race to look at. And you might, again, it's a starting point. You want to dig in, look at the form of the horses and stuff. But I just want to show you kind of the process that I follow to actually how to use the rod and look at the plots and get some ideas of which races I might want to get involved in. And then the last 2 were Tampa races, so might as well just finish it out. Let's look at Tampa 2. Yeah, it looks like bulking. The 2 is may be able to sit off of some of this. The 4 looks like the horse. Again, also look when you're looking at these things. make sure you look at the run styles to just kind of see where horses that are at and so forth. Maybe there's some options here. That's a possibility. Again, in this case, it looks like the 8 is one of the morning line favorites. Maybe the 3 is a little bit interesting. Again, if you have to play this race in a contest, you may look at the 3 and maybe even the 6 as possible horses. Again, you would go to the next level. And again, I don't know if you know that you can click the form here and get some information on the horse without having to go back to the grid, but you have the grid available to you and so forth. So this may be something that might be worth it and interesting. Again, if you have to play that race. And then the third race, just click that. I just kind of flipped over to the next race. Yeah, 2 looks okay, I guess, but he needs to be close. The 4, and it could be some contention here, but nothing's jumping out at me. And again, in these small fields, there's lack of value. I kind of one of the things that probably down the road when we want to add to rod is kind of the field size, because that's important, right? You're going to get better value, better prices with bigger field size. Well, that's it. I just want to kind of show you how do you kind of use the rod as a starting point for trying to select plots.